Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here today again. And I have our coach Ruth here with me. Ruth, welcome and thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me, Cohil. It's my pleasure.
I'm excited to talk about what we're going to be sharing today. And before we get started, Ruth, we like to bring ourselves here and now. I don't know about you. It's been a busy, busy week and a busy day. Have we ever, do we ever stop saying that?
I don't think so. I had to think about that. Never. I haven't yet. Let's say it that way. I haven't yet.
Yes, we always say this week's been busy, and then we say it again next week. It's been busy,
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a busy world. We're all
Yeah.
living in a busy world, so we need to learn to bring ourselves to the present, and that seems to be the hardest for everyone, as the world is also in chaos. So, how do we do it? How do we do it? Because we have to really consciously talk to our mind about being here and now. Correct, Ruth?
That's
Coach
correct.
Ruth?
Absolutely. Yes.
So, did
Yes.
you think about the past today?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And how much time was that productive thinking in the past?
No, it never is, but it keeps popping up.
So, what did you do to pull yourself out of it? Did you get a chance to pull yourself out, or were you just having a party in the past?
Nope. I gave myself maybe 30 seconds and then I remember a technique that we use, right?
Yes.
And that brought me back to center. Yes.
Yes. So, it's not that we think we're going to go and party in the past and think about all the things that went wrong, or I could have done this, I should have done this, I shouldn't have said this, right? All of those things. We don't just voluntarily go there, but we're pulled every single day to these events. And then we stay there, we stay stuck. And then when we stay stuck, we can be here and now. And here and now is where we can learn, we can live, really live, right? And we can
Absolutely.
lead ourselves and others in life. Unfortunately, we stay in the past. So, what can we do with this past? Every time, as Ruth Coach just said, you have to, really consciously bring yourself in those seconds. You have to pull yourself back again and say, I don't want to visit this anymore. Only thing you can pick from the past is lessons, right?
Correct. Correct.
That is the only information we have is lessons. If you can pick those up and each time just get rid of it, just let it go and say goodbye to some of those things that happened to us, it will make so much easier to be here and now in the present. Now, sometimes we do that. Some other times we're in the future. How about yourself? Were you in the future today, Coach
Oh,
Ruth?
absolutely. I go to the past and then what's going to happen in the future? What about tomorrow? What about Tuesday? That busy mind thing. Yes.
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 And what was it all good stuff for the future for Mondays and Tuesdays? Were you thinking of the beautiful times it's coming your way, or what were you doing
You
with the
know,
future?
yes and no. Or, is it going to be nice? Is it going to be sunny? Is it going to be rainy? And I have no control over that. So the future is just the future. It's not here yet.
Yes, it doesn't have no one, no none of us have control over it.
No.
But for some reason we think we can just keep at it as if we're going to produce it. That's the only thing that we know it's coming, and only thing we can do is bless it to be beautiful as much as possible, and also release it so that we don't have to produce it as if we have some control. We don't.
No. None.
No.
Zero.
No. Yes. The only thing we can do is set some intentions for the
Correct.
future, of course, but otherwise it's in the hand of whoever you believe, God or universe, right? So you just have to release it. Now, when you do both of those, let go of the past and release the future, look, your hands are free, just like
Mm-hmm.
your mind is free.
Yep.
So now I can actually bring them together. If I bring them together, I am centering myself.
Yes. Yes.
So in this center is where everything happens. That's where you're now and here. Your mind is very clear to work on things that you have to get done. So is there another thing you do, Ruth, besides, talking to your brain and bringing yourself here and now? Is there something else that grounds you in this moment?
Breathing. This was a physical thing. To do something physical, it gets my brain centered. And then I also breathe. I do some breathing and just don't think of anything, but just let it go. Just release it through my
Yes.
breath.
Is there a special breathing technique you use?
I usually breathe in like for 4. I'll hold for 4. And then when I'm breathing out for 8, I just let it
Nice.
go. Just let
Love
it
the
go.
sound. Love the
Yes.
sound. Okay, can you take us through a couple of those, 3 of those rounds, actually, not couple, 3
Sure.
precisely?
Absolutely. It'd be my pleasure. So if you want to close your eyes, you may close your eyes. I tend to do that. So we're going to breathe in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4 and let out for 8 and make a sound. One more time. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4 and breathe out for 8.
Love the
Breathe.
sound. It's just like letting everything go.
Just let it go and you can feel your shoulders. One more time. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Let it out for 8.
Thank you. Awesome. I think that brought all of us here and now. What do you think, Coach Ruth?
I think so. I know. And if you do that, I know you might feel silly, even if you're doing it in your car, but I guarantee your shoulders will come down and you'll just feel that energy, the negative just whoosh out for you. Yeah, I
Yes.
promise you. I promise you. Yes.
Yes, yes, definitely. It really grounds you. Okay, so today we want to talk about what parents are feeling, grandparents are feeling, because or any adult, right? Other than kids, because they're so born in this world with the technology. Isn't that the topic we want to talk about, Ruth,
Yes,
today?
yes, definitely about technology and how it's
Yeah.
influencing our kids, how it's influencing us as adults also.
Yes.
Definitely.
And a lot of us don't say this out loud, but we're feeling it, right? Kids are growing up in a world where we didn't, right? This is not the
Right.
world we grew up in, very much different. They are moving faster with technology. They understand things easier and they want
Mhm.
things to be done faster and they want their life to move faster as
Yeah.
well. And sometimes it feels like they are ahead of us. Have you
Oh,
felt that?
absolutely. I know a couple times, like I'm trying to figure something out, and I'll say it out loud if my granddaughters are here. They're 12. They'll say, "Oh, Nana, we know how to do that," and I'm like, "Okay, show me." And that always is amazing to me that at 12, sixth
Mm-hmm.
grade, that they have this knowledge.
Yes. So they are ahead
Hmm.
of us. And sometimes the
Definitely.
question underneath it is, how do I guide my child if
Right.
I don't fully understand their world? You know?
Absolutely. 100%. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So if you ever felt that, you're not alone. Most importantly, you're not behind. And I don't think your kids are that ahead because only reason is because they're growing up with it, right?
Correct. My kids just were starting. Like the computer, the home computer was starting to come around 1997, 98. And my kids are just starting school. Where my grandchildren, immediately Chromebooks are put in their hands and these kids are walking around with phones. So it is different. Um, but again, it can be, I should say, solvable to help
Yes.
our children learn how to use it in moderation. They always say food in moderation. I try
Yes.
to use it with technology, everything in moderation,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yes.
Hmm.
So if you're watching us today, I want you to remember that you're not behind and
No, no.
you're just being asked to lead in a different era, in a
Oh,
different way. And we're all learning as we go, right? This is
yes,
it. This is it.
yes.
So Ruth, what are you seeing in families right now that parents aren't saying out loud? What do you notice?
Well, they're not saying that at all, but they're hinting. They're frustrated. My child won't finish their homework. My child won't put their phone down. Um, you know, I hear a lot of kind of through the kids, right? That my mom is mad at me because she thinks I play too much Roblox. That's the big thing, right? Roblox.
Yes.
And I think parents are feeling guilty. I don't think they know what to do, and I hate to sound like an old lady, so to speak, but there were times, we would put our kids outside and it was okay for them to be bored. I think when kids go, I'm so bored, I want my parents to take me here, I want them to take me there. It's like, it's okay for your kids to be bored. And I think parents, because nowadays you have to have two incomes. I
Yes.
can't even imagine, and so they are busy and they're trying to raise kids and they're doing the best they can with what they have. And I think that this technology thing it's spinning pretty quickly and parents just don't know when just to stop and sit. And it's everybody, right? You might be having a great week and feel that you're handling it. And then you might have a week that just, oh, I saw a parent that I know on Facebook said, when is spring break coming? Because I'm tired of arguing over homework.
Mm.
And, so I feel that, I get that. That hasn't changed. We struggled with our kids too in order to do homework and finish that, but there's a different piece to it now that we didn't have with our kids. And
Yes.
that's the tough piece, is that technology.
So what is really the technology doing? Because the home parenting has always been parenting. My
Correct.
parents also told me I have to get good grades and sit down and do the
Correct.
work. And I
Yep.
probably will be like, I don't know, I don't want to do the work right now. And I
Right.
probably will be sneaking around and watching some TV at a time and get in trouble for watching the TV. And then we would be told,
Right.
go sit down and do your work.
Right. Right. Right.
So we had that problem has always been there, as you say. So now we have the technology. What is it actually? Why is it harder? Why do we hear this all the time from parents that my kid's not doing the work, they don't want to do the work, they don't want to sit, they're not taking care of a lot of things in life they should be, right?
Right. I've been doing a lot of reading with some of the people who are very well versed in this area, and because we all feel it, but I didn't know how to put words on it. And what's happening is with the technology, is a dopamine hit to the brain.
Yes.
So it's that, the excitement. I think of the old time casinos. Why do you think casinos, the ding, 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 and the fresh oxygen and all that? Because they want you to stay. They want you to keep going, right? It's that dopamine push. And I think, I am not an MD. I'm not a psychologist, just from information I'm reading. We would throw our kids outside and they go, oh, we don't want to go outside, we're bored. But they would go outside and they'd find something to do.
Yes.
Right. So that boredom forced them to figure things out, whether it's digging in the sand or picking up worms or climbing a tree or whatever, or riding their bikes.
Yes.
Where now this is that instant dopamine hit when they pick up that phone. They don't even have to look at their game yet. Just that picking it up is triggering the brain like, ooh, okay. Blah, 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 blah. And
Yes.
that's something we didn't have to deal with as parents, and parents are having to do that now. So it's almost like, it can be addicting, even to us parents. How many of us pick up the phone first thing in the morning with our coffee and check our Facebook or check our emails?
Yes. Yes.
I've had to really work and put my phone away. Don't touch it until I'm ready, do my breathing, do something to get my mind regulated. So it's not a blame game. It's just they've made these phones and they've made these apps where they want us to do that, because the more we scroll, the more we're on their apps, the more money they're making, right? So it's not a judgment, it's just things that we all are doing. And to understand it, that probably can't figure out, why am I picking my phone up first thing in the morning? Because your brain's saying, ooh, I want that dopamine hit.
Yes.
So yeah.
Well, that's also the fear of missing out. What happened all night long? What did I miss, right? Who said what?
Right.
And who
Right. What perfect parent did this week, kind of thing. And it's like, try to think back when we just got up, we might hear our alarm, for an extra 5 minutes, and your parents going, it's time to go to school, time to go to school. And we go, well, now it's like these kids are just jumping because they want to get that phone. And it's just, nothing's changed overnight. It's okay if you wait 10 more minutes to have your coffee or water or milk. 10 more minutes isn't going to change the world. It's okay. It's okay.
And let's look at a scenario, right? Okay, I'm a child. Maybe the parents have rules that they don't take the phone into their room. We talked about many times having the phone in the room.
Right.
To me, until they're older, seems like letting a stranger into their bedroom all night long and saying, "Stay there with me." That's how I feel. I don't know about other people, but I'm very, very protective of children, and I don't know how you feel, Ruth, but that's what I feel. I feel like if I let a child have a phone in their room, it's almost like inviting a stranger and say, yeah, my daughter's room is upstairs, please go and stay with her upstairs. It's what it feels like.
Right. And I love that analogy when I heard that, because I'm going to say back in the day, when computers first came out, we had a specialist come into the school and talk about having screens like in living rooms, have screens where parents can see them. And that's 1998, 99. And now it's kind of like we just put them in the room, they do whatever. The same dangers are there.
Yes.
We've just kind of become so programmed that, oh, it'll be okay. No one's going to come after our kids. And that's just not true.
So true.
I talk very seriously with my granddaughters. They're twins and they're 12. And they're like, oh, well, we never give out our names and we never give out where we live. But think about this, parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles. If they're in front of a school, or if they have a school logo, or if they're in front of your church, or if they're, people
Yeah.
can find that stuff out now. So just, there have to be some boundaries and rules, just like there were before. Just like there were before.
Yeah.
This time to this time. My kids grew up with Nintendo and Atari and all that kind of stuff. They like to play games. I understand that. Guys, this is different. This is way up here. This
Yes.
is, you have people online who are pretending to be kids and they're not. And we can get all the information and say it's not going to happen to us. It is happening to us. And it's our responsibility as the adults or the community or the village where our children are, is to protect them the best that we can with what we have. And the knowledge is, you need to be, and I know it's hard, you need to go through your kids' computers. You need to figure out what games they're playing. And there needs to be a limit. We need to limit them. It's okay to limit kids. Kids like boundaries. Kids thrive on boundaries. They really do.
Yes, I totally agree on that. They feel safe when you put
Mm-hmm.
boundaries. When you don't have
Yes.
boundaries, that out of control feeling they have is when anxiety starts kicking in and they act more with big emotions, because kids just love somebody to give them some kind of guidance and guidelines so that they can just freely investigate in that boundary that you set up. I'm
Yes.
okay to do whatever I need to do. And then when it's beyond that, I'm going to come back to my parents because they're the loving people I have, and then look
Right.
up to them for more instructions on how far can I now go, right? So
Right.
if we keep doing that, by the age of 16, 17, guess what? When the freedom starts expanding,
Mm-hmm.
because we've already built that, they're going to look up to us again. I'm kind of
Right.
lost, mom or dad, can you help me? Can I go further, or should I
Right.
stop? Should I go this way, that way? And it'll continue even into adulthood, that relationship,
Absolutely.
right? But if
Right.
you haven't set that up already, this is not too late, because a lot of parents
No.
think that, my child's gone off the other end, I can't talk to them, I don't think I can
Right.
bring them back. It's
Right.
never late. All you need to do is sit down with them and have a
Yes.
conversation, talk to
Yes.
them about all the safety things. I mean, our parents told us all the safety things. They didn't let us go out at 11 p.m. at night and said,
No.
go and roam the roads and come back.
Right. Right. No, you had a curfew and you better be home. Yes. Yes. Can you imagine? Here are the car at 6. Here are the car keys. Go ahead. Stay out till 2. No, it's the same thing with the phone. They don't need to be staying out till 2 or 11 or midnight on their phone. It's like sending them out into the world, because that's what it is. It's the
Yes.
world.
Yes, it is on their, on their fingertips now.
Yes.
So it's never late. So if you're thinking,
No.
I just did it so wrong, I've already messed it up, there's never ever a day like that.
No.
You've never messed up your child's life.
No.
You just have to
No.
take back
Right.
the boundaries that you haven't
Yes.
allowed to be set back, and set it up, and always co-create with them, right? We talk about co-creating, right? Everything needs
Yes.
to be co-created with this
Yes.
generation. It doesn't mean you're being permissive parent or you're
No.
being so gentle or whatever the
Mhm.
parenting types out there are. You're actually, co-creation means that it's not negotiation. It is, you are asking them, wouldn't this rule make sense if we implement this
Mhm.
rule? Wouldn't that make sense? If you have your phone in your room, it doesn't allow you to go to bed. It has many dangers.
Right.
Don't you think we should establish a rule that the phone stays outside at this place all night long? And as family, we all leave it so we can all,
Right.
create a habit together. And then in the morning at this time, after you done this and this,
Mhm.
you can pick it up. And then when you come back, when during homework or whatever you need to get work done, we put it over here. So if you start establishing that, kids
Right.
love to follow rules. They like it if it's
Right.
established.
And right, and kids, believe it or not, now they might fuss and like, no, I
Of
don't
course.
like it. No, that's
Yeah.
okay. And then you say, well, you do that negotiation, so to speak, to a point. I don't know if it's negotiation, but you can say, okay, so like with my granddaughters, when they're here, they'll have homework. And I'll say, all right, do you want to do your screen time before homework, or do you want to do it after homework? The screen time hasn't changed, but they have some
Choice.
control or power and choice in when they want to do that screen time.
Yes.
And I heard another parent, which is brilliant. They're saying, okay, they get, like, say, an hour an hour a week. Now, maybe that's too little, but as an example, an hour a week. They can choose when to use that hour. It can be all in one day. It can be broken up. But once that hour's done, it's done. And then they have to move on to something else. So
Yes.
that's another good tool that I didn't have. That I thought, oh, okay, you know, if it's an hour and a half, whatever your time is, I wouldn't. It depends on age too. I understand that. But remember, folks, the more these kids are on their phone, cognitively, and these studies are coming out. And again, I'm just learning this stuff too. Studies are coming out that cognitively, it's lowering the bar.
Yes.
Their brains aren't working because it's just stuff being
Fried.
fed.
It's like fried because it's
Yeah.
too much stimulation at the same time. It's constantly,
Correct.
and their
Correct.
brain needs rest too. Like these young minds need
Yes.
some kind of That's why boredom is so good, because that gives them
Yes.
that
That
restful state.
rest.
Yeah.
Rest.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say to parents, I say this to parents, I said, put yourself in a room full of 100 kids. Do that for 8 hours. See how regulated you are. Really. Even let's try, just do it for an hour. I guarantee you're going to be just like, because it's that stimulation.
Yes.
And kids are getting all this stimulation and they don't know how to so then you say, okay, it's homework time, and they're like, what, no. And then you have these meltdowns, and then you have arguments, and then you have all this stuff going on. It's because they've been on it too long. And again, it's not judgment. We're all trying to figure this technology stuff out. These are just some tips and tricks that I'm trying to use with parents and students to help them kind of navigate all this stuff so that they don't have the meltdowns, that homework is getting done, that, you know, lead by example. I have to do that. Again, when my grandkids are here, my twins are here, you know, we want to talk. Guess what? My phone's often over here. I'm not having them talk to me and then I'm checking my phone.
No.
And we've all done it. And I had to catch myself. We put everything down and we have conversation. And guess what is changed? Their behaviors, and they weren't bad kids. That's not my point. No one's bad. But the behavior and how they've opened up more about what's going on in their lives is what we need to know, especially middle and high school. When you are present with them like that, they will tell you things. And that's how we help parent. That's how we help raise these children in our village.
Yes, absolutely. So some parents are saying I'm losing, especially grandparents too, right? Because the technology is just too much, right? You're staying ahead. I can see you're saying I listen to a lot of things. I'm finding out a lot of things because you have 2 granddaughters, right?
Yep.
So parents, what about, like, they feel like they're losing the confidence in themselves to stay with this, stay current, and, you know, like some of these games, we don't know even what they are, right? We only hear from when things go wrong, right?
Right.
Like I played Nintendo a lot of the time, and then it comes out usually in the holiday times, like March break, Christmas break, summer break. We're allowed to have it out all the time, but if it's a school days, we were only allowed the machine out in front of the TV only on the weekends, and only on like Saturday. Sunday it has to be packed up and gone away again. They were never on. They were never allowed to be on in our house, but sometimes, you know, me and my brother would sneak around and put it on and play too. That's what kids do, right?
Exactly.
That's normal.
Right.
It's always been ways to do it. Right. But one thing with those games were that I was never talking to anybody besides my brother when I was playing.
Correct.
The only person I talked to was my brother and the little things that jumped in the game, and that I wasn't talking, but I just got excited about that, right? Going to the next level or next world. But that's not the gaming our kids are playing these days. This gaming has changed. We can interact with anybody around the world, and everybody and anybody, and those people can also identify themselves inside the games as a 8-year-old, and they could be, you know, 29-year-old or 59-year-old. And some people are out to pretend and be there to take advantage of sometimes little kids and teach them words or things that are not appropriate. So some of these games are not protecting our kids from that. So our job as parents and grandparents is to not to say, you know, they're just playing a game, but be curious about what is the game is about. Curiosity. You don't need to police them, but ask them, what is this game about? How does it work? Who is inside this game? Who are you talking to? You know, you're chatting here. So who's that person, right? And that's like, sometimes I say this and parents would say that's their privacy. No, in this in this space, if an 8-year-old gets privacy with their game online with strangers, they could be taken advantage. It's like, again, leaving your child on the, in the middle of the night, out to roam, and you say, it's their need, it's their, I can't control them or something. It doesn't make any sense, right? We won't do that. So
No, and that reminds me of a story. Again, we have to use the same techniques we had, and I've passed these on to my boys who have kids now. Is that I remember Carol Burnett, and if any of you know Carol Burnett, she's still alive. She's a comedian, and her daughter is the one who attempted suicide. And she didn't succeed, thank goodness. But Carol Burnett knew her daughter was in trouble, and she actually went to her room and read her diary, which probably saved her daughter's life. And I remember somebody in an interview, and this is many moons ago, they said, well, weren't you invading your child's privacy? And she goes, yes, and thank goodness I did. It's my job as a mom. Now, I'm not talking about helicoptering a parent, but I'm saying if you think your child's in something's going on, something's different, it is our responsibility to check it out. It is our responsibility to possibly go through a room if you think they're smoking dope or doing drugs. And that's a whole other issue. But I'm just saying, it's okay to be a parent. We can be their friends when they're older, right? But to be a parent, and the same thing with video games, check them out. Think of it this way. Back in the day, if your child got invited to a birthday party, right? Or even nowadays, parents still do this. Do you not meet the parents or talk to the parents if they're going to a new home, right? Don't you say to your kids, I'd like to meet the parents or talk to the mom or the dad and find out where they live, what's going on, right? We want to introduce ourselves if we're going to let our children go somewhere. Yes. It's the same thing with these video games, like technology. They're going somewhere. We need to investigate a little bit. You don't have to spend hours and hours, doing the X's and O's or whatever it is computer stuff does. I'm not a programmer. But check it out. It takes you 5 minutes just to kind of figure out what's going on. Are there parental controls on that? Are there things, or is this, are there age appropriate? Because they sometimes have age appropriate things on there. So think of it that way. If your kid was going to a new house or a birthday party, would you not want to know where they're going? Absolutely. It's the same concept.
Yep. It's scary. It's scary what's happening. So be involved, ask questions, check what they're watching or involved with. And it's not against their privacy or anything, because it is our duty to protect our children until they have the capacity to do it. Because at this age, they don't. They can have the discernment of what is right and what is not, right? So the confidence part, yes, it feels like we're in a new world, but it's just a new world changed. Like the safety is same as before. Every parent looked out for the safety of their kids all the time in the past too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And use those same techniques. It's just that added piece of technology.
Yeah.
Like you said, Gohila, parenting hasn't necessarily changed. Yes, we're busy or both are working. But again, it's that just ask the questions. Yes. Just think of technology or these games, or if they're on the computer, they're going into someone else's home, so to speak. What would you do? Just something simple. That's all you have to do, is just ask the question. Stand behind them or look on their phones. Oh, that's interesting. How do you do that? Or who's this? Or who? It's the same concept. We're just technology. We're like, oh, what do we do? What do we do? It's like, use the same tools. Use the same tools your parents used. It's just another piece to them growing up.
Yeah. And you don't need to worry to upset your child, because all children will get upset, and it's okay for them to be upset, because sometimes at certain moment I was extremely upset at my parents for saying, put the game away and go do your work, or aren't you going to do anything in life? You're just going to sit and play here? And I was like, yeah, I want to, but they say, no, put it away. And of course I was mad. I wasn't like, oh, okay, thank you for telling me that, because I really truly understand you're telling me for my own goodness, right? I didn't say. I was inside of my head going, why won't you let me play? You don't understand. I have one more level to finish, right?
Right. Or they stomp off. Oh, I hate you. You're the worst mom. You're a mean dad. That's okay. That's okay. You can be that mean mom and mean dad. We had a specialist come in years ago to the PTA to talk to our parents. I had him come in and talk to the parents. And he talked about, the timeout thing was a big thing, and you do a minute per kid. Well, anyways. And so he said, you send them to their rooms or wherever your spot was. And he said they will get mad. They might even use words and call you things that you didn't think they knew. And you just don't react. And it was so funny. Quick story. So our older son, David, he had done something that he wasn't supposed to, and he'd been told a couple times. So he sent him to his room, the minute thing, and we had a staircase, and all of a sudden I see these eyes through the spindles, right? And he threw a paper airplane down the stairs. And I could hear it, and he ran back up in his room, and I picked it up and I looked at it. He was calling me not a very nice word. He didn't know how to spell it yet. He was second grade, or he spelled it but not correctly, second grade. And I just ignored it, and I sat back down, and pretty soon he came through, and his eyes were through the spindle again. And here comes another airplane, and he went back to his room. He did that 3 times. I didn't react. And then when his timeout was over, it was over, and we just moved on, never talked about it. And you know what? He didn't do that behavior again. And if it wasn't for that pediatrician that came in and talked to us, I would have been like, how do you know? You know what I mean? And he's like, yes. Keep the time. So in some ways, you ignore behavior if they have a timeout. Little kids, if you have a timeout, just ignore it, because they want that reaction. Just ignore it. With your bigger kids, they stomp away and say, I hate you, you're mean, you're awful. Don't go, oh yeah, don't. It's hard. I'm not saying it's not hard. Don't respond. They'll regulate, you'll regulate, then it's over, right? And once it's over. But set those boundaries. Set those boundaries. It's uncomfortable setting boundaries with our kids. I get it. But we have to.
Yes. Otherwise, the danger is real.
The danger is real. The danger is real. The danger is real. Yes.
And I used to tell my son that you'll thank me when you're older. So just listen for now.
Right.
If he goes off about I said something and he's not liking it, I always co-created. I always told, this is why we're going to do it. This is what the reasons are. Here's how we're going to do it. These are the steps. Let's go follow them. And then if he still says something, I would say, I'm not here to be your friend. You will thank me when you're older, but this is how it goes. We have rules in our house and we follow them, and that's it.
Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that. Having the rules, again, and you guys don't believe me, we have Google, right? Kids love boundaries. They will gripe.
They love it.
And complain, but they love boundaries. Kids do not like chaos. They don't do well in chaos. And if your kid's melting down and doing other things, there might be too much chaos going on. It could be the video and technology stuff. That's too much for them. So the boundaries are crucial to our kids, and it's okay. They'll be okay, and they will listen, and you are giving them good tools for down the road, right? Because they're going to be out of our house, and they're going to be on this computer, and you're going to be, do you want them addicted to that, or do you want them being outside and learning and exploring?
Yeah, we also have the duty to make them as independent as possible when they do leave the house, and when they do get to the age of making choices. We want to show them, and they know the dangers behind each of them because we explained it. So when my son was getting his driver's license, there's a place they asked, does your parents, because he was 16, does your parents allow you to get the motorcycle license? They also ask at the same time. So I was there. Because I have to sign it as well when he was getting his the first L test was being done. That's when they asked. So I was there, but I signed and I sat down, and my son was writing the knowledge test, and then at the end he passed it, and then I was still sitting, and then I could see my son answering yes to the motorcycle. I'm gonna get it, but he actually the guy said, you need to ask your mom if it's okay, because he was 16, right? So he still asked me. So my son looks at me, and he almost thought I was going to say no, because of course he was thinking like I would be overprotective or something, like he was thinking. I said, if that's your desire, you will get training and you can get it. Right. So that look he gave me was not because I was so strict with him all the time that he needed permission, but we always had this, that was out of his boundary, right? It's not something he can decide, kind of. So he looked at it and he wants it, and I just gave him an extra boundary to say, as long as you take test and you practice and you take the motorcycle, that's fine. You can say yes to it.
And that's that collaboration with your child.
Yes.
And I know it's all age appropriate, right? You have to do it age appropriately, but we can always do that no matter what the situation is with our kids.
So he's 16. He could say, I'm going to take it, Mom. He could have reacted in that situation. You know what? I want it. Can you just sign it? He didn't say that. He looked for with a smile. He's looking at me for that smile and to give him that extra expansion of his boundary, right? We're looking for that boundary. That's because if you start creating that boundary, when they know they're going beyond the boundary that was already set, they look back to you. And then that same thing he did, that he's like, I want to do this after my graduation. And then he turned around and looked at me for, can I expand this boundary? Is this okay if I go this way? So that continues even into adulthood. It's not like we said, you better ask me before you do anything. It just feels natural for them to come to you. And that's when the friendships forms, right? That's when you feel like their friend, because they're looking for that. I'm going to do this. What do you think about it, Mom? Or what do you think about it, Dad? So it's it will develop into a friendship over the years. And when they're grown up, you can have a beautiful relationship. So set the boundaries. They love it. They love it.
Yes.
And it reduces anxiety. It reduces the chaos in their life. And even though sometimes some kids might get mad, some kids are different, right? But mad is okay. For a bit, they don't understand. You can say, I know you're mad.
Right.
But let's have a conversation when you're feeling okay. Let me go through this with you, why we have certain rules the way we have in our family. I will explain to you. Do you have a moment to sit down? When you're done, when you calm down from your anger, I can sit down with you and talk to you. So keep doing that. While they're angry, there's no point in talking. I don't know if you ever tried talking to anyone who's angry.
Right. It's like, do you want to be talked to when you're angry? No. It's like, really? Not now, right?
But sometimes parents try that, right? I tried it too. I made mistakes like that. When my son is angry, I try to talk to him, and then it just explodes. Right?
It's like, or to say to your child, now calm down, and it's like, if someone think, I always have to think, if someone, another adult was coming to me and said, calm down, I would lose my mind, right? What do you mean calm down, kind of thing? And, and again, nothing's going to get through. You could explain to me till the cows come home. And if I'm angry and not calm, it's going in one ear and out the other. It's the same with kids. And an explanation, I like when you say that, is so crucial. They might not like it, but some parents, were raised, my generation was raised, why? Because I said so.
No,
there might be some situations, okay, fine. However, explain. No, because it's past, I want to go out till midnight. No, you're only 16 years old. There's nothing that's going to happen past 10 o'clock at night that you need to be involved. It's a safety issue. There are people, whatever, but explain it to them. They're still not going to like it. They still might say, I hate you. You're mean. All the other kids are doing it.
Yeah,
all the other kids are not
I
doing
used to,
it.
I used to say to my son, but they're not my kid.
Right. I'm like, or I used to sit back in there. I could be, like a little snarky with my boys. I go, really? So which parent, which kid? Well, can I call the mom and see? Because if they are letting such and so out, and there's a couple of you, well, I might reconsider. Let me call her. Well, no, I'll just stay home.
Because there was no one else.
Because I know there is no high school kiddo staying out till midnight on a weekday, even a weekend. If they're not, nothing but trouble can happen after midnight. I've always been told that by an old timer somewhere. I don't remember where. And I just kind of chuckle, and not in a mean way, but I'm like, oh, okay. Because again, if that is true, I don't know, maybe these boys, they were boys, maybe they're getting together and having a bonfire at somebody's house, right? Well, then just explain that to me. Let me talk again to the parents to make sure it's okay, and I'll reconsider. Well, there you go, right? So just kind of ask questions like that, and then they'll be like, oh, because now they know. You know what I mean? No, that's not appropriate. And mom might or dad might check just to make sure, because we want to keep them safe. It's not to be mean. We want to keep them safe. And so down the road, when they're at university or maybe working or doing whatever, if friends all of a sudden say, hey, let's go out and we're going to be out late, but you have to work the next day, something in their brain may go, oh, you know what? Wait a minute. Is that really a good choice right now? Right? Because you have to work the next day. I mean, all that stuff rolls into each other.
Compounds, all of those experiences.
Yep, compounds. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
So if you're a parent looking at your child or a grandparent thinking like, they're so ahead of me, right? They're so ahead of me. I don't know how to parent or how to be a grandparent to them. You don't need to worry about how ahead they are. Going back to the parenting, like what we are used to as human being, what human being needs at any age is safety, belonging, right? Knowing that someone loves them no matter what. These things haven't changed just because they're ahead with their technology. Technology doesn't make any of that go away.
No.
Right? And guidance is always needed. That's why we give birth and we keep them 18 years, 19 years. They're staying with us for a reason, for guidance.
Right. Exactly.
Otherwise, we could just give them a birth and say, go explore the world.
You have a baby, you tell them to walk and they're still rolling. I'm like, yeah, no. Basic kids and basic humans have not changed. Just the surroundings may have changed, right?
The needs are still the same. And if anything, those needs needing to be loved and knowing that they're loved, the guidance piece is more than ever needed now.
Yes.
Because it's constant, because of the constant stimulation and bombarding with all these knowledge that sometimes we never even got to experience in our life. They can, in a fingertip, they have every answer, right? So because of that, they need more guidance, more involvement for sure. But if you set the right type of parenting with them, because every child is different, so we can't say, oh, use this type and that'll work for every single parent out there. No, find out your child, who they are and how they respond to you. But that boundary is a big piece. Boundary is such a big piece. It doesn't matter.
Yep. And be present. The biggest thing is, even in our busyness, right? When kids come home, or whatever your timeline is, it could be before bed, after, whatever. I shouldn't say after bed, but you know what I mean? After work, before bed, whatever your timeline, because everybody has different, schedules and that kind of thing. Even 10 minutes, they're showing 10 minutes of putting stuff down and just being present with your child, asking them about their day. And they're like, oh, it's fine. Oh, well, so who'd you have lunch with? If you just say, how was their day? But make sure the phones are down, right? Because they're going to be scrolling.
Yes.
And you just say, so there's questions that you can ask that won't get that fine. Okay. Now, who'd you sit with? Or when they're little, who'd you play with on the playground? And you know what? Some of those questions also opens up, and then they'll start telling you about the whole day. And all you need just to do is ask just a couple questions, and just because then they know that you're engaged, and do that a little bit, and they'll tell you everything, and just start setting time aside. And guess what? You don't need the phone then, right? And it's hard because in our minds, we think, again, like Kohila, you said, we're missing something. You're not missing anything.
Yeah, that alone keeps us away from our kids, that everything has changed. It's sort of like we're putting a barrier between our kids and us, right? I don't know how to parent my child in this world. This world is new, but the child's requirement and the safety has not changed. It's just a different medium. The safety switched to online, because before our kids were hanging outside. So we said, no, you can't hang outside after a certain time. You got to come home. We lock the door and we're all safe inside the house, right? But now the house is no longer safe either.
No.
With what we have created and what we are allowing them to have with the internet and the phones and computers and tablets and all this stuff. So the duty hasn't changed. It's just shifted.
It's just shifted in. My mom had a rule, nice, because we'd go hang out at the mall. I wasn't allowed to hang out at the mall because if you're going to shop, if you have a purpose to be there, that's where you go to a mall. Because back in the day, I keep saying that, everybody, all the teenagers and kids would ride around at the mall, and then there's nothing but trouble that can happen when kids are just doing nothing at a mall, right? It's the same thing with your phone. Think of them. Would you throw them into, would you drop your kids off at a mall right now, if there's any malls left, and just let them go for hours and hours and hours with a bunch of kids that you might not know? Well,
Yes.
no, they're not there to shop. They're there, nothing really good comes from kids just wandering around. It's kind of the same. They're wandering around the internet. Think of it that way.
Yes.
Again, those boundaries, just like our parents or grandparents set for us back then, those boundaries are still the same. It's just a different tool. Instead of a mall, it's the kid's phone or their iPad, right?
And
It's that
sometimes, if you
same
think
boundary.
about downtowns, right? If you let a kid go downtown, some areas of the kid downtown have alleyways that are very dangerous
Right,
for some activities that are not
right,
appropriate for our children. So that those
right,
alleyways are also available on the
right.
internet.
And that's a really good, I live in a small town and the girls, we live close enough, their school's close enough, but we have a cute little downtown. And a lot of the kids after school will go to the bakery and get a donut or across to get a pizza. But again, there's a boundary. They're going with friends that we know, right? And then there's a time we're picking them up. It's not 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. So in your home, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, midnight, and your kids are on their phone, they're in those alleyways. They're in those dark places
Yes.
and they're not getting sleep. That dopamine, think of that. And they tell us as adults even, because I love to read on my Kindle, right? I do have my hardcover books, but I love my Kindle. And I have to remember, if I'm on my Kindle until 10 o'clock reading a book, nothing naughty, a book, not games or anything, why can't I sleep? My brain.
Yeah.
Again, there's nothing wrong with reading on a Kindle. I have to get off of it a half hour or so before, do some resting, maybe read a hard-covered book or paperback, because my brain's rolling around. Well, if our kids are doing that till all hours of the night, they're not sleeping, then they're getting up, to go to school. They're tired, they're dragging, they're complaining. It's the same thing. Think of how it affects you. It's affecting them 100 times more, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Put them away,
Absolutely.
put them down.
Absolutely.
And researchers even tell adults, don't use your phone as
Before certain hours of
as a
sleep.
clock. Don't use it as a clock either, because our brains are so, and it took me a long time. I thought, oh, that's a bunch of malarkey, right? It's so true. So now we have
Well,
an analog phone or analog alarm clock, because I was getting up in the middle of the night checking, and then it's just that, no, even as adults, put the phones away or turn them upside down, put them in the bathroom, put them someplace else, because it's affecting our brains too. So it's affecting our kids if you think about it in those terms.
and also the phone before we had a phone, we had a clock, we had a camera. They were different devices. Now they're all all in one device.
Right,
all in one, right?
right.
So when that comes, our children have the tendency to say, I need my phone because I have to put my alarm to wake up. Like my son did that too. I said, yes, you do need an alarm. I could be your alarm because I'm always up early, so I can wake you up, no problem. But you don't have your phone in your room. And he said, no, I want to become independent. I don't want you waking up when I'm 16, 17. So I need my phone in my room. So I said, we do have something called alarms.
What?
They're still available at stores.
Right. You can even get little digital ones.
Yeah, I bought him one. I set him up and said, look at this. This is actually an alarm. Its function is to just be an alarm. And if you ever get bored, you can turn on the radio once in a while to make you fall asleep. But your phone does not stay in your room not because I don't trust you. I don't trust the phone.
Right. And if it blinks or dings or, any of that. And again, there's nothing wrong with having phones. It's about using it in moderation and using it in the right way. And we're all learning together, right? So I don't want parents to feel, guilt, shame, or remorse, because that doesn't do anybody any good. It's just an awareness, and you're not alone. We're all out there.
It's happening to all of us. It happens to all of us.
It's
happening to
feeling
all
the
of
same
us.
struggle.
Yeah.
So
As an adult too. It happens to us as an adult. If you start using it if you have the discipline, it's okay, right? Discipline is learned, and it's consistency with the discipline that it's earned, right? But if you can discipline yourself, even as an adult, I would buy myself a real alarm, and not use my phone to wake up from it. Don't set it on. But I don't have a problem with it. I've taught myself to not have a problem with phone. But it goes. I mean, all of us are dealing with the same problems. Like it's not just for one family or one. Because sometimes we think it's only happening to my family or me. And parent, right? No, it's like everywhere. It's the
No,
same thing. And it's not just happening in the US. It's not just happening in
no,
Canada. It's actually happening across every single
ever.
part of the world is the
Right.
same thing parents are experiencing, right?
Yes.
And then I want to talk about, before we run out of time,
Yes.
the
Oh, sorry.
identity of the parents are taking on identity. Like when we keep saying certain words all over and over again, right? So one of the words that we use, all of us, we started off of that word as well, busy, right?
Right.
Busy.
Right.
Now, busy becomes, over time, busy becomes identity. I'm just busy. I can't deal with anything. This is too much. It's overwhelming. I can't do it. And then we have our own set of, a lot of chaos is happening in the world, economy and all of that. And I have to work. I have to, all of things are going up, and all of these things are happening for a family as at the same time.
Right.
So that shifts into that identity, right?
Right.
Like,
Right. Right.
then I become this person. I am this person. After that, I'm always overwhelmed. If we get into that, then leading our family becomes difficult, because now I've
Yes.
just surrendered to that identity, and then that's going to keep me in a loop. Like, I cannot parent it the right way, and then you start feeling guilty for not being a good parent
Right.
eventually. So it's a dead end.
Yes. It's a loop. You're in that you're on a hamster wheel. You're going, and it's going nowhere.
Yeah. So it just gets worse, and
Yes.
the more your behavior, the more you start panicking like that, your nervous system is going to affect your children's nervous system, and they're going to feel your anxiety of you not being the great parent. So it all together, it just doesn't do anything good for anywhere, for anybody, anything. So if you're feeling that way, that I'm not a good parent, I'm not doing a good job, I am so busy, which I know you are. We know you are.
Right. We
As
know
a
you
parent.
are. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's just given right now, right, for everybody.
Yes.
And the anxiety about the world and what's happening is also real as well. So how do we keep that all away from our children? We started with that. Breathe.
Breathe.
Take deep
Yes.
breaths.
Deep breaths. Yes. Yes.
Breathe. I know it sounds silly. Maybe you might be smiling. You're telling me to breathe out of all of my problems.
But it works. Even if you watch your kids, just take, or if you let's say you have a crazy, crazy busy day and you get home, and of course you haven't even gone to the bathroom yet, right? And the kids are at you, and maybe, husband's like, where's the husband? Or, the wife's saying to the husband, where's the food? Blah, 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 blah. You can say, let's take 5 minutes. Just take 5 minutes, put your stuff away, use the bathroom, come back and go, okay. And they're going to look at you like you're crazy. And okay, let's just breathe. Just, and just do that. And they'll stop. They're going to look at you. I'm telling you, they're going to be like, what? But just breathe. Have them breathe.
Yes.
And then say, okay, what's on your mind first? You know what I mean? Kind of just bring it down. And it's hard. This isn't easy stuff. It isn't easy. But once you start doing it and get into that pattern or habit, the change you're going to see when you get home from work is going to be like night and day. Just little things like that is going to change the whole tone of your home. Or there could be a day you go, you know what? Mom's just had a really crazy day. I just right now, even if it's 20 minutes, you got to give me 20 minutes, guys. Do whatever you need to. You do your breathing first, right? Then come back. Whatever that timeline, give yourself that timeline. Yes. And then go back to it. Yes. Something as simple as that, because come on, let's be honest. If we get off our phones, we all have 5 or 10 minutes. Yes. Because if you look at your phone, I had to look at mine. I did this check about a year ago. I looked at my phone, how much time I'm spending. I'm not on the phone that much. Holy guacamole. Let me tell you, it was more than I ever imagined.
Yeah, we always underestimate it.
We have time. It's just how we prioritize it. And again, this isn't to make you feel guilty. These are things I've tried myself also, and it works. And I've tried it with the kiddos that I deal with every day. I'll say, okay, but I know you had a rough day. Can you breathe for Miss Ruth? I go, okay. And guess what? It brings it down. Just something, and then I might do the 4 and 4 and all that, but just if they just breathe, it brings it down. They start to regulate a little bit. That's all. Breathing is so easy, and it's going to be a fix that you're going to absolutely love when you start using it with your family.
Yeah. And this is free for us. It's with us. Breathing is always with you.
Yeah.
Just take it a little deeper every time, and then let that,
Yes.
let that fear of I'm not being a good parent just
Out.
evaporate out of you, out of you, instead of being stored in every cells of your body, and then you feel
Right.
very tight and negative, and you just lose yourself into that as well, right? So
Right.
one thing you want them to understand. What is one thing that you want them to understand, Ruth, before we finish today?
You're doing an amazing job with what you have. You're
Yeah.
okay. You're fine. You're not alone, right? Us as parents and grandparents are all in this struggle together, and we're here to support and help each other. We really are. Use the breathing. If I can leave you with one thing, breathe. Just breathe. And when you're over here in your past and you're worried here, do what we did. Do this. And I'm telling you, if it's at a stoplight, the past, thank you. The present, bless it. Okay, I'm right here, right now. Breathe. Okay, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
So you may think your child know more about technology, but guess what? They don't know more about regulation. They don't know more about the directions that they could go that's safe and the directions that they can go that's unsafe. They don't know that, because
No.
otherwise, as I said, we could have just had them and then said goodbye from the hospital.
Yeah, give them a phone and tell them goodbye.
We don't do that. We put them in a little basket and carry them home like precious. They are precious, right? So we
Yes.
need to take care of them. And then decision making is still developing, so we cannot think that they can make good decisions yet. It's not that they're not smart enough to make it, it's just that they don't have the power yet here.
Right.
It's developing, it's under development, right? So we need to
Right.
guide them during that time period. We have to guide them. That's why we stay by them, to guide them, right? Until it becomes fully developed. And then they're also trying to become who they are. Through all of this journey, they're coming to figure out who they are.
Right.
So there's a lot of things they can hear in the external world that
Right.
that could become who they are. So we need to be able to be there to make sure what are they consuming, what is being input into their mind and their body, so that we understand, right? So that those
Absolutely.
things they don't know yet. They know more technology, but these things, it's the same requirement that was whatever years ago parents were doing, is exact same thing we need
Yep.
now as well. So
Yes.
this is where you have to lead. This is where you have to lead. In these areas, you have to lead. So don't let the technology stop you from thinking that I'm not in their world. Don't understand their world. No, the technology is just one part. Everything else, as we
Right.
talked about,
Right.
is the same thing
It's
as
the
before.
same.
It's the same
Absolutely.
thing. Same thing.
Yes.
It shows up differently, right? So again, parents, this world is moving fast, but your role hasn't become any less important. It has become more important, maybe,
Right.
in just different ways, in a different way, as we talked about. So you don't need to outpace your child by, I need to learn everything about it, because that's just going to, in your busy life, you can't make that happen. You don't need to know everything that they know either.
No.
But
No.
but you do need to understand what is happening inside them, because the inside is the most important. That requires your presence, your peace, and your connection, authentic connection you can create with them, right?
100%. Absolutely.
So
And
if
those are
you
easy things. Those are free. Those are free things. Just those 3 things. Yes. Yes.
And when you start understanding the system, this whole body is the systems running it. If you start looking at it from the system level and come home to yourself first, be here for you as well, then what looks like confusion will start to make sense. And what looks like resistance will soften, right? It will start to soften.
Right.
And then connection will come back. And
Yep.
that's how you can be an amazing parent to your kids. So
Yes. Yes.
don't worry about
No.
becoming the perfect parent. Just become a present.
100%. Just be present. Just be present. That's all they want from us, is to be present. That's it. Really.
So Coach Ruth offers coaching for any age, any stage. It doesn't matter what labels your child might be carrying or you might be carrying. Just reach out to her on all social media.
Yep.
And underneath this video, if you have any questions, please send them to us. If something we said doesn't make sense, send them to us. If something you don't agree, share with us, because that creates conversation. Instead of saying, something else, just tell us, what do you mean by this? And I love to answer those as well. So thank you, all of you, for sending in some questions and answers. Are always, we are all learning from each other, which not like somebody else has everything for it, right? But only thing I know that ultimately our job as parents and adults, it doesn't matter if it's your kid or my child, all sons and daughters in this world need protection. And as adults, we need to be responsible for protecting anybody's kid, because kids need protection. That's one thing I'm going to say before we go, is that did not change. Just because there's no safety on internet does not mean that we as parents, all of us as adults, can step in and make sure that things like this get stopped. Things that are not safe, it gets stopped, so that kids don't run into this problem. That is ultimately all in the hands of all adults. Doesn't matter if you have kids or not. Right?
Yep. Absolutely. When it takes a village, it takes all of us to protect our children. They're our precious commodity. They're our future. So we must keep them protected from the really yucky stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Beautiful conversation. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day today. Have a blessed day. We will see you again.